Well, what do you want to hear first, Cuse fans? You want to hear me rant or you want to hear me rave? Well, I'm gonna do both, and there's no stray cats around. Although after seeing last night, I might want to strut. Meow! And don't cross my path. Alright, enough of the 80s music. First, I'm gonna rant. What is it with the basketball team and teams from Pennsylvania, especially when we go down to the Keystone State? First, we play Temple, albeit it's in Madison Square Garden, close to Pennsylvania. Then we lose. Then we go down to Villanova, Philadelphia to be exact, and we lose to the Wildcats down there in the city of brotherly love. Now, we go to the Steel City. Actually, Smoky City is what it was once known, home of the Primanti Brothers sandwich. That's right, Pittsburgh. And what do? We lay an egg against the Panthers. I just wonder, do we have an aversion to playing in the Keystone State? Or was it like one of those funny Super Bowl commercials? Especially the one with Bud Light and the voodoo dolls for both teams. Somebody had a voodoo doll for the Orange when we played Pittsburgh. Let's see here. Let's stick it in this thing of Michael Carter Williams. Here, Brendan Trish is about to do a free throw. Let's stick him in the arm. Oh, I missed the free throw. Somebody has a voodoo doll. Pennsylvania, Syracuse. Let's stick him or let's break a leg. Let's hope nobody has a voodoo doll of me around here somewhere. I might want to go like this. But enough of the ranting. Let's talk about the raving. Last night, they come back to the Dome to play our old rivals who are going to be going with us to the ACC. That's right, the Fighting Irish at Notre Dame. Last year, it was the Fighting Irish who knocked us off when we were ranked number 1. But Mr. Cooley didn't have any high harmony. And in the Battle of the Brothers, it was Jeremy who looked the better Grant, especially with that block heard round the world. Boy, he really said to that shot, "Get that out of here!" And he knocked it somewhere into the middle of next week. Please do, 'cause I'm having a rough time this week. And boy, did the Cuse look good against Notre Dame. 63-47, we throttled the Fighting Irish. And our next game is coming up Sunday against a team that we've decided to re-up for a couple of years. A 1-1 series against St. John's. And it's one of the teams that I hope that we could continue a rivalry with. St. John's is heading to a conference yet to be named, or maybe they're going to be forming a conference with their brethren who've broken off from the Big East. But Syracuse and St. John's has always been a great rivalry, especially when good old Louis was coaching the Red Storm. Of course, back in the 80s, they were called the Red Men. Of course, now you have to be politically correct so as not to tick off the Native Americans. Gotta go back on that one. Although there's still some teams that are called the Indians or whatnot. It's one of those things you could give or take. But I'm not here about talking about any politically correct thing. The Cuse look bad against Pittsburgh, but look good. Now let's get this situation, against Notre Dame, that is. Now let's get this situation with Sutherland resolved. And of course, Coleman's going to be on the bench for 3 more weeks with that knee that he had operated on. Let's keep it going, Cuse. That was a hell of a win against the Fighting Irish. Let's beat the Red Storm on Sunday. Now let's stick with Syracuse and let's talk about the football team. Tomorrow is the first class for Scott Shaper. we got 19 recruits already in the fold, although one of them decided to depart because he's a little leery about Shaper. Augustus Edwards, who was a pretty darn good running back, decided he was going to look at other schools and he decommitted. Oh, that's three recruits who kind of gotten cold feet from Scott Shaper. Well, you shouldn't get cold feet. Shaper's going to hopefully keep the same offense that Doug Marrone had at Syracuse. We could have 22 recruits in the fold instead of 19. Tomorrow we're apt to add a few more. Right now, they have us ranked as the 71st best recruiting class. We could be in the top 50 if we get the recruits that we want. Let's hope it's a great day tomorrow, Orange football. And the newest Orange. Let's hope you do the job for Shaper. Now let's talk about one big bowl, shall we? The Super Bowl on Sunday. Boy, it looked like it was going to be a rout first thing. Then it turned into an exciting game. First, it was going to be a blowout. Then, after Beyonce Knowles' halftime show and the Ravens returned that kickoff for a touchdown, we had a blackout, a 34-minute blackout there in the Superdome. Oh, and then it turned into a shootout when San Francisco came back against Baltimore. And in the Battle of the Brothers, Big Brother took this one. Heck, even if Coke decided to run around the end zone a few minutes, boy, he should have gotten a Pepsi for doing that. But whatever, it was a pretty darn good Super Bowl. But Baltimore wins 34-31, and Ray Lewis, being either a pariah or a bit good player, depending on your point of view, rides off into the sunset of his NFL career with a win and the Lombardi Trophy. But I mean, with Ray Lewis, I could give or take. Personally, I didn't really care for him. But although I will say he was one hell of a linebacker. And I will quickly talk about the incoming class to the NFL Hall of Fame. Again, Andre Reed does not get selected. Bill Parcells, Larry Allen, Jonathan Ogden, and others get selected. And of course, Chris Carter, who had the best pair of these, went for an NFL receiver probably in history, gets in. But yet, Andre Reed gets foiled again, just like Lex Luthor is at the hands of Superman. But you know, one of these days, let's hope time doesn't run out on Reed to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He deserves to be. Heck, all those Bills who played in those 4 consecutive years when they went to the Super Bowl deserve to be. But there's only limited space for Bills and Canton, I guess. But what a Super Bowl. Even if Beyonce Knowles, who I don't care for one way or the other, all decided to cause a blackout. But I mean, it was a heck of a game, heck of a storyline. Big Brother wins this one. Little Brother, hopefully, after pleading with this, can get his way next year. Albeit, let's hope Buffalo has something to say about that. Let's talk about the Super Bowl commercials, shall we? For the ad meter for the 4th time in the ad meter's history. The Clydesdales win for the best ad. Of course, I always like seeing those great symbols for Anheuser-Busch. Clydesdales are called the Gentle Giants, and I've stood next to and I've even petted several Clydesdales, and they live up to that name as Gentle Giants. But you gotta wonder, you'd think a Clydesdale would really come galloping to say, "How you doing?" to its former trainer. And what about one of the most god-awful commercials? That GoDaddy.com one with Barafali and the Geek. Them locking like French kissing. I'm sorry. You know what I'd do to that geek? There. You want to see another up close of my hand? There you go. And last but not least, I want to talk about this whole thing with women now being cleared to be on the front line for the armed forces. Well, it's about time. You know, I've always thought women would make pretty good soldiers. But, thing is, you gotta wonder, when's the first time there's gonna be for combat? Oh, something happened? Oh, oh, great, I lost my place. Well, gonna say, when's gonna be the first time for something like a combat or whatever? And of course, the women does something. I mean, where women just kind of get cold feet or whatever. I don't think that'll happen. Women, just like in the Israeli army, could make great soldiers. Thing is, the one thing, and when is there gonna be a women president? I mean, we've been thinking about that for years now, and I will tell you this. If there was a woman president, there'd never be any wars. Just every 28 days, maybe some severe negotiations. Oh well, sorry for that hiccup. That's all I have to say for this week. I'm Ken Haas, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.